Hello everybody, my name is Olaleko Amoso, the founder of Just for Women Africa. And today on the show we have thus Karen Hendrickson, who is Jamaican born and also raised in Bermuda. She's been in Ghana for over 22 years. She'll be talking to us about herself, her experiences in Ghana. She's also been nominated for the top CEOs women in Africa. And with anything else that comes up during the conversation, so stick around and we'll be right back. Hello everybody, you're welcome back to Just for Women Africa. I have us Karen. Karen, you're welcome to Just for Women Africa.
Thank you, I'm delighted to be here.
All right, Karen, you've been in Ghana for the last over 22 years.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your experiences here in Ghana?
Wow, my experiences in Ghana have been a fantastic kaleidoscope of adventures. Some days have been just so amazing that I have to pinch myself that I'm actually on the continent in Mother Africa. And other days it's like, wow, this is a tough day. But where you can look back and laugh and say, oh wow, that was such a funny experience. So it's been a wonderful roller coaster of adventures.
Okay, that's 22 years of adventures here in Ghana, is it?
Yes.
Okay, you happen to also run a children's foundation, Hearts Foundation.
Yeah, it's actually called the Children's Heart Foundation Ghana. And I'm one of 6 trustees.
Okay.
And we've been in existence for 15 years. And what Children's Heart Foundation Ghana does, and I'm very passionate about this, is that we raise funds for Ghanaian children who have what they commonly call hole in heart. And they require open heart surgery. Now, in most of the cases, the parents cannot afford to pay for it. And so what we, the trustees, do is we raise funds so that the parents do not have to worry about finding the almost $10,000 per operation for their children to have the life-saving surgery. Okay. So that's what we at Children's Heart Foundation Ghana does.
$10,000 is a lot of money for a heart operation.
On this part of the world, oh, yes, it definitely is.
Yeah. So how does the foundation go around raising such funds?
Okay, the Children's Heart Foundation Ghana, we raise funds by appealing to corporate donors, affluent individuals, and by having raffles and auctions, and basically getting the word out about our charity. And I'm so pleased to say that throughout the years, even people who sometimes cannot attend the event, they will send a donation and they'll say, I believe in your cause. We know that what you're doing has such a wonderful ripple effect in the community. Because think about it, over the last 15 years, we have saved over 200 children's lives. Think of the ripple impact into the various communities that they come from. So that's how we raise money for this fundraiser.
But so how do you go around getting children who have had surgery in Ghana? Do they write to the foundation, or you go to various hospitals around Ghana looking for them?
Another excellent question. Typically what happens is the child is diagnosed by one of the major hospitals in Ghana, and they will end up at Kolebu because Kolebu does most of the open heart surgeries in Ghana. And at that point, the doctors at Kolebu, who are really, they are really part of Children's Heart Foundation Ghana in a big way. They will then recommend to the families that are financially distressed, go to Children's Heart Foundation Ghana, give them this letter, and that letter will be, if you will, their passport to us that the condition is authentic, the cost gives us the price of what it costs, and it will also sometimes indicate if it's extremely urgent, and then that will let us know that we have to prioritize that particular child's surgery. We would like to one day build a Children's Heart Foundation Ghana hospital, not unlike St. Jude's in the US, where the parents who cannot afford it pay zero. Nobody even talks to them about a bill, because we would have enough endowments, enough funds that we could finance that completely. And the other part, which I think will really make a huge difference, is if that facility will have accommodations for the parents of those sick children. Because every hospital has visiting hours.
Definitely.
And there are times the parents cannot be there. But as I said, they live too far away many times, and they end up currently having to sleep in some rough places until the next visiting hours. So our dream is to build a hospital that caters to all of that. And we will not only focus on children in Ghana, but we would want it to be the hub for sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
So because every year more than 200 children in Ghana alone are diagnosed with some type of congenital heart disease. And as a result, they will require surgery. And so I'm just putting it out there. And I'm sure your next question is, so how much do you think that would cost?
Definitely.
We've done a rough costing, and it's somewhere between $100 million and $125 million.
Wow.
Yes, and that would give us the facility and the accommodations that we need, and of course be able to pay for the clinical talent that would be a must. And also have maybe a research component there, because scientists really don't know why a certain percentage of the population is born with this condition. There's lots of theories, which I won't go into now, but it would be great to have a research unit that actively looks into it and tries to come up with the real why or whys behind that.
Okay.
So that's my vision, that's my dream, on behalf of all the rest of the trustees of Children's Heart Foundation Ghana.
Well, that's amazing. We look forward to seeing the hospital in Ghana. Where would the hospital be? Will it be in Accra or outside Accra?
Well, in my idea, it would be great if it was a place that was just outside of Accra, but easy to get to, because we would really love to be able to have this type of facility where people from all over Ghana, as well as the surrounding countries, would be able to come and not have to worry about finding funds for their child to get the operation. Now, this is a dream, but I want to speak it into existence. I really believe in that.
Yeah, the power of the mouth.
Yes,
of course.
and positive thinking. Yes.
Definitely. All right, so let's move away from that and let's talk about something else.
Sure.
Right. In 2022, you were nominated for the top 100 female CEOs in Africa. How did that make you feel?
Wow, ecstatic, joyful, humbled, but full of gratitude.
All right. When you were told, where were you? Were you at work or you were your family?
Actually, I opened up my email.
Okay.
And there was a message. And actually, it was 2020, not 2022,
Okay.
if memory serves me correct. But I'm not 100% sure. It's like a blur right now. But I opened up my email and I was just blown away. But then for a split second, I thought, oh, this is a scam. This is something that is not real. And so I immediately called my personal assistant and I said, Ruby, do you think this could be real? And then she looked into it and came back and said, this is a real nomination. This is not a scam. And then the joy that overflowed me, and I'm like, of all the female CEOs on the continent, to be in that top 100, it's practically miraculous. And to this day, honestly, I don't know how my little name got on that list.
Hard work, I guess.
Well, I'd like to think all female CEOs work very hard, because we're always having to prove ourselves over and over and over again. So to make it to the top 100 is just a blessing and full of gratitude and humility.
You also happen to run one of the biggest clinics in Ghana, Rabito Clinic, and you're the CEO. How does that make you feel, as a woman running one of the biggest clinics in Ghana?
Well, I'll say that I feel privileged. I feel extremely humbled, but most importantly, and people might find this unusual that I would say this, but most importantly, I feel that I'm creating a role model for the many female potential CEOs that will come along. And that is what I am most proud about, because I know there are a lot of little children looking up for people who look and sound like them, and giving them the opportunities to be able to say, one day I could be that. So for me, to be very honest, that is the part that drives me every day. I'm setting a trail for future generations coming behind.
Okay, which is really, really important. And you have a lot of women around Africa. And one thing which keeps on coming up is that women are not taken seriously when they're in the boardrooms, when they go in for meetings. Once they say woman walking in, they're equally dismissed even before they even sit down to talk.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is the case? And what do you think can be done, to change that scenario, not just in Africa, but all around the world?
Well, I think a lot of it is cultural. Most of the societies around the world have, in my opinion, they have marginalized women to be the childbearers, even though it's a very important role, and to be the caregivers to the home and the family. And women, generally speaking, are not nurtured to be bosses, if you will, outside of the home. And how do I think it can change? By more and more women getting into entrepreneurial endeavors, which I'm proud to say in Ghana, that's very much the case. There are so many women entrepreneurs and owners. But more importantly, and again, this is why I'm so passionate about my role as a CEO in the largest, probably private healthcare facility in Ghana, is that we are blazing a trail. We are showing the young people who probably would have thought that it could never be a possibility for them to rise to the pinnacle of whatever field they're interested in. And the more women they see in these positions, the more it becomes achievable. And also for the young men coming as well. When they get used to seeing females in positions of power, over time, that mindset of that the let's just say the elders in the room tend to have when a woman of any stature in business enters the room will dissipate, because they'll get used to seeing women in positions of power, authority, and that will help shift the tables.
Okay, it's interesting you mentioned men, because one thing I've also heard is, when women go out looking for jobs, the men seem to make sarcastic comments, more of like, well, we'll give you this salary because you're a woman, and the other half you can get it from your boyfriend or your husband. What do you think about comments like that? Do you think things like that will ever change?
I have to believe it will change. And I have to believe that in time, women will be strong enough and courageous enough to actually fight against that. But we will need laws on the continent to help battle against that. I can assure you, if any man said that in an interview in the US, they would probably have a lawsuit on them quicker than they could ever think, because there are laws now in place to protect such sexist comments. They may think it, but for it to come out of their mouth, it will actually engender a lawsuit, which the female will more than likely win. But one of the ways that I think women can fight back against these types of sexist comments is not only by speaking out, if they have the courage, by the way they carry themselves, their demeanor, the way that they portray their displeasure with those types of statements. So for instance, it is a comment like that, if the female, out of nervousness, rather than, that sends a message without saying a word.
Sure.
And sometimes as females, we have to practice that so that we communicate without speaking, if you know what I mean.
Even in leadership positions, I mean,
over the last, say, 25 years.
Over the last 25 years.
Yes.
What have you learned over the years? Because the norm these days, everybody wants to get into, be an entrepreneur. You see the young women around want to be an entrepreneur. But when you talk to them, you find out they don't have the necessary skills to actually be an entrepreneur. They don't have the communication skills. I met someone the other day who didn't even know how to write a report. He didn't know how to write a memo. And I'm wondering why you're an entrepreneur if you don't know how to write a memo, you don't know how to write a report. What advice can you give out to women who want to get into the entrepreneurial space, but don't have the skills, they don't know what it is, to actually be an entrepreneur?
Well, first, let me say this. The experience that one brings to any leadership position, CEO or otherwise, is usually accumulation of various life, business, and academic experiences. And I see a lot of young people who romanticize about being the leader of an organization or their own company, but they have not properly equipped themselves with the foundation that they require to become an entrepreneur of anything that is successful. So let me give you an example so that our viewers can understand. A house, if somebody wants to build a house, what's the first thing that you do? You put in a foundation. And let me speak for myself because I don't want to speak for everybody else. But the foundation starts from equipping yourself, doing the best you can in your academic pursuits. And yes, not everybody's going to be a top student. And also taking on any task that's assigned to you with vigor and enthusiasm, because you'll learn something from that. And jumping at the chance to working with people, learning how to negotiate, to compromise, stepping back and observing, and then learning as you go along, making mistakes and not being afraid to fail. All of those come together to create a tapestry of life learnings that will prepare you for that ultimate leadership role. And there is no shortcut. If you don't have those experiences under your belt, like you mentioned memos and things like that, yes, that's important. And being able to communicate in any way, shape, or form is vital, especially if you're going to be dealing with people. And then on top of that, I feel the young people of today, they must be patient, okay? Yes, it would be great if you could wake up at the age of 25 and become a CEO of a super successful business. But even if that happened, if you don't have the foundation on what is required to run that business, what are the skill sets you need to look for so that individuals can help you achieve your dream, then you won't be able to do it. And this is where being humble enough to accept other opportunities until you get to where you're going, stepstone by stepstone by stepstone. Sometimes you even have to go laterally, but eventually you'll get there if your vision is clear.
Okay, Karen, as we bring the interview to a close, what's your advice to women who feel, it's a man's world, who feel that they need money to start a business, who feel that, they get constantly sexually harassed, being out pushed by men when they go outside? What's your advice to them?
Well, my advice to them is to never give up. I truly believe that. But also, they should look to see what role models in their space are working towards and having success at overcoming the same obstacles that they're facing. Let me give you an example, because I always like to bring it to a more personal level. I have been very successful in a number of careers: finance, investment, banking, reinsurance, and now healthcare. However, I know there's more in me. And as an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur as well, it would be very easy to say, let me rest on my laurels. I'm now running 22 healthcare facilities across Ghana with over 250 staff. Let me just rest. However, I am looking forward to say, I also have a creative side. I'm passionate about certain things such as gardening, fashion, lifestyles, especially as it relates to Africa. And my friends call me the visual orator because I'm a little expressive when I talk. And so I'm going to be embracing them and stepping into, alongside my current business acumen, and embracing the visual orator and the way forward so that I can make that brand, if you will, the visual orator, something to be respected, to be able to share with other people who have a love for this continent. And so if I made those types of negative thoughts come into my mind to stop me pursuing the visual orator lifestyle that I not only live, but I want to share, then I wouldn't start. Okay. And so, yes, I'm stepping into new territory. It's a little unfamiliar, but I'm bringing my passion and my love for everything African and my desire to share it as a visual orator to all those who would give me the privilege of their time.
That's a really nice advice. Okay, Karen, thanks a lot for being up to us on Just Women Africa. We look forward to interviewing again in future. We wish you all the best. And to our viewers who are watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend who knows a friend about Just Women Africa. And from Karen and I here in Accra, Ghana, to the next show to be. Bye.
Peace.